Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and in this video we're going to be doing an initial comparison between the Harden Volume 7 and the Harden Volume 8. So the Harden Volume 7, if you didn't know, is an absolute banger. This shoe is one of the best performing hoop shoes of last year or for the past year, and the Harden Volume 8 just came out, or it did just come out for a little bit on JD Sports and Finish Line, but it's not available there anymore. I don't know, but as far as the retail price goes, it's the exact same price, 160 bucks for the 7. It is on sale obviously because it's been a while since this shoe came out, but retail price is 160 bucks, and same thing with the Harden Volume 8. So if you guys do want to cop, I guess the 7, I'll try to leave the affiliate in the description box. If you do want to cop, it does help me because it is an affiliate link. So I do thank you if you do buy it from that link, but let's get it started right off with the traction. So the traction pattern is kind of different but also kind of similar, you know what I mean? So obviously in the 7 we do have herringbone, and then in the Harden Volume 8 we have herringbone, but it's kind of like around the perimeter of the outsole, right? And then we have some lightning bolts in the middle of the outsole for the 8, and then some circles, right? Some circular shapes here in the forefoot. So but we have 2 pods here in the 8 as well as 2 pods in the 7. So that's what's similar, I guess. Also we do have a circle, but it's in the heel for the 7. But one thing that is similar, however, is the heel, right? We got the 3 stripes here in the 7 though. We do have the stripes that do expose the boost, but in the Harden Volume 8 it's just like it's just a rubber, right? But it does look pretty similar when you look at the shoe from the back, which does look pretty dang cool. But as you guys all know, the Harden Volume 7 had really nice traction. It was susceptible to a little bit of dust pickup, but it was a very easy wipe, and durability seemed really good in the Harden Volume 7. The Harden Volume 8, the durability does seem good as well. It's just the where the red part is, right, with the circles, it is a little bit thinner. So this part doesn't seem super durable, but it'll probably hold its own. It'll probably still be pretty good. It's just not as good as the Harden Volume 7 on an outdoor court. As far as the stop goes for the Harden Volume 8 so far, it does feel very nice, right? It feels very similar to the 7 where it has a very nice stop, but we'll have to see on the dust performance for the Harden Volume 8. But yeah, the traction does seem very similar in performance, which I'm super duper happy about. Alright, now moving on to the heel to toe transition, that is where it does get a little bit different, right? So here in the heel for the 8, look at how curved that is. It's crazy. And also we do have foam, right? So it's just this exposed foam. It is kind of stiff, right? It doesn't have that much compression, but because of this foam, it's still a little bit smoother in the heel than the Harden Volume 7 because of this caging. It's just this plastic caging. We do have a nice rounded shape though, so it's not super terrible either, but it does feel a little bit stiffer here in the 7. But coming into the 4 we have a nice curve shape, and same thing here in the Harden Volume 8, right? Very nice curve shape in both of the shoes. However, the Harden Volume 8 is a good amount stiffer, right? It doesn't bend as much. Maybe when I do break it in, it'll bend a little bit more, but look at, also first of all, look at all this creasing on the shoe right now. I don't like that. That does not look good, first of all. But also, it does seem a lot less bendy than the Harden Volume 7. The Harden Volume 7, look at that. It bends a lot more. Has a little bit more springiness as well. The Harden Volume 8 is just a little bit more stiff. So we'll have to see on how it actually plays. But right now, it does feel a little bit more of like a stiffer feel for the Harden Volume 8 comparing to the 7, because the 7 is a little bit more bendy, flexible, right? So there's that. Moving on to the cushioning setup. So the cushioning setup also is very similar, not that big of a difference. So obviously this is a comparison, so I'm gonna be nitpicking the differences, but overall it's a very similar feeling cushioning setup. So first of all, the Harden Volume 7 is using light strike and also boost, right? It's a light strike and boost combo. The Harden Volume 8, I'm not so sure, right? So it's saying it's using light strike and jet boost, right? But then I don't see light strike anywhere, right? So obviously this is probably just EVA for this foam. And like I said, there's not that much compression. There's a little bit, but obviously there's a little bit more compression from the Harden Volume 8 comparing to the Harden Volume 7. There's like no compression because of this caging. If you look at the actual like outsole, we can see the boost, this jet boost exposed here in the heel, but also through these like kind of holes in the forefoot, it looks like boost here too. So I'm not sure where the light strike is. And also if you remove the insole, first of all, the insole is exactly the same, pretty much like a paper stock insole in both the Harden Volume 7 and also in the Harden Volume 8. So that's pretty much the exact same. But if you look underneath the insole at the stroke board for the 8, you can see that there's boost. There's a circular cutout in the heel. You can see the exposed boost, and it looks like it's boost pretty much. That it looks like it's full length. So yeah, I don't know where the light strike is. But anyways, as far as how it feels extremely similar, but the court feel is a little bit better in the Harden Volume 7, right? The Harden Volume 8 feels a little bit, just a tiny bit higher up off the ground, which honestly isn't a bad thing. It still has really good court feel, but because it is thicker, it probably will have a little bit better impact protection, and also it feels a little bit softer for stepping comfort and underfoot cushioning right now. So honestly, I like the Harden Volume 8 cushioning setup a little bit more. It feels a little bit better, right? And I don't even mind it being a little bit higher up off the ground because, like I said, it's still really good. The Harden Volume 7 was one of the best shoes that you could get for court feel, and the Harden Volume 8 being a little bit higher up off the ground is not that bad. So it's a little bit softer for stepping comfort and underfoot cushioning. It'll probably have a little bit better impact protection, and I do like the kind of softer heel, kind of, because this is foam, you know. So there is the cushioning setup. They're moving on to the upper, so I definitely like the Harden Volume 7 upper better, right? So as far as the shroud goes, both of these shoes are using shrouds, and it reminds me, of course, of the Harden Volume 1. You guys remember this shoe? I miss this shoe. It was such a nice performer. But anyways, yeah, but I guess they're both crappy materials, but the one thing that I like about the Harden Volume 7 is that it's just tighter on the toe box. You know what I mean? It doesn't really come out that much, you know what I mean? But if you look at the Harden, look at this. Look at how much it scrunches up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that. It feels a lot looser as well. But for quality, they both feel like kind of crappy. It's not that nice, you know what I mean? But one thing that is literally the exact same is the one-piece booty, right? So the one-piece booty is literally the exact same material. It's just stretchy type of knit, and I really like how it feels. It just feels like a sock that's kind of stretching over your foot, so it improves the fit. And yeah, it's literally the exact same, you know what I mean? One thing that is a little bit different though is that there's two pull tabs on the Harden Volume 8, right? One here in the heel and one here in kind of like the front. So you can stretch it out like this. The Harden Volume 7, it only has it here in the heel. There's none here in the front, so you kind of have to grab it like this. That's one thing that I noticed that was a little bit different, but obviously that's not gonna affect performance. So that's exactly the same for the sock booty, like one booty upper. And then obviously around that, kind of like the shell is what's different, right? So in the 7, we have this kind of like puffer jacket material, which I think feels way better than this foam, right? First of all, I hate how much it creases. Look at that. And when you bend it, it just creates all these crease marks. It does not look that good in my personal opinion. And also just kind of feels a little bit cheaper as well. I don't know why. Like up here, it just doesn't feel that quality, you know? Also here in the heel, it is a little bit different in terms of design as well. We do have these kind of like plastic stripes. It's not 3 stripes, but yeah, we do have this plastic material going across the heel. The Harden Volume 7 didn't really have that. Obviously, it just has this external cage, right? But in terms of quality, I do like the Harden Volume 7 a little bit better, but how it feels on foot for the upper, it feels really similar, right? First of all, you have that kind of stretchy one booty sock like upper that's stretching over your foot, which feels literally the exact same. And then the toe box, it is kind of thin, and then in the midfoot it does get a little bit bulky, right? So it feels really similar on foot. So there is the upper there. Moving on to the fit. So I went up half a size for both of these shoes, right? So first of all, for this colorway of the Harden Volume 7, right, this kind of like mint kind of aqua color, I went true to size, and this shoe fits very, very snug, which I do like, but it is a little narrow, right? As you guys can see, it is pretty pointy. So in this all black colorway, I went up half a size, and then in the Harden Volume 8, I also went up half a size, and it fits me extremely well for both of these shoes. There is obviously a little bit of length, but it's not super duper long. So if you want very, very snug lengthwise, then go true to size. But like I said, just be careful with that. I feel like most people should be okay, should be fine going up half a size. If you want a little bit roomier of a fit, and like I said, even though there is a little bit of length, I don't really mind it all too much. Here in the toe box, it is pretty snug. It's not super duper snug, and it's not super roomy. It's just like a normal snugness, and it's not terrible for me. And then width wise, it's kind of weird because it does widen up here, right? But then where your pinky toe is, it kind of comes in a little bit, right? Especially in the 7. The 7 definitely comes in a little bit more where my pinky toe is and squishes it a little bit more. The Harden Volume 8 is a little bit more relaxed, but still a very, very similar fit nonetheless. So yeah, basically whatever fit you were here in the Harden Volume 7, you can go pretty much the exact same size in the 8, but also the 8 feels a little bit more roomy here in the toe box, which I don't like as much. So there is the fit there. Moving on to the support and lockdown, I mean, yes, the 7, you're good to go. There was no issues, right? You can see all the lateral counters here. You can see the caging, right? This plastic here in the forefoot, here in the midfoot, and also this plastic piece coming up acting in the sidewall. So you're good to go here in the 7, and the 8 feels literally the exact same. Like you have all this foam. You're good to go pretty much. So there is a lateral containment there, and as far as lateral stability goes, let's see what shoes. Yeah, I mean, they're the exact same. Look at that. Literally the exact same width, so lateral stability feels like it'll be good for both of these shoes as well. I mean, the Harden Volume 7 I had 0 issues, and the 8 feels like it'll be good. So there is that, and I really don't think I'm gonna have any issues with lockdown either. My foot was very locked into the shoe for the 7, and it's literally this exact same kind of design. It's using that one booty sock with like a shell over it with the laces, which is literally the exact same. So there is the support and lockdown. So now moving on to the weight. The weight is something that I am pretty curious about. The Harden Volume 7 is quite heavy. It comes in at 15.3 ounces. Let's check the Harden Volume 8. 15.3 ounces, so it's literally the exact same weight. And yeah, that kind of sucks because 15.3 ounces is extremely heavy. You know, the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. The AE1 also very, very heavy. It comes in at like 15.55 ounces, guys. So Adidas shoes, not really known for making super lightweight shoes. The Harden Volume 1, I think, was like 13 point something though. Oh no, 14.05 ounces. So yeah, it's not a surprise that the Hardens are heavy because it's been heavy for a while. But I didn't really mind the weight all too much. I mean, obviously I'm a guard and I like to have very lightweight and very minimal shoes, but with the Harden Volume 7, it was just so comfortable and cozy and low to the ground with really comfortable underfoot cushion that I didn't really mind the weight all too much, right? And although it was a little bit bulky, it wasn't super duper bulky, and because of the amazing traction and really good support and lockdown, I still felt really quick when I was playing the Harden Volume 7, right? Obviously, the AE1 is a little bit better in my personal opinion because it's not as bulky. It's a little bit heavier, but it's not as bulky, right? Not a whole lot going on as far as something protruding out. You know, there's not as much puffiness in the upper. So the AE1 just feels a little bit better. But like here in the Harden Volume 8, I guess it does feel a little bit more minimal, I guess. You know what I mean? But not by much. And like I said, you know, we have that one booty sock thing, and we have a cage, like another upper going over that for support in both the 7 and the 8. So yeah, if the Harden Volume 8 holds up with the lockdown, which I think it will, and it has really good traction, it's probably gonna be very similar to the Harden Volume 7. I'm probably not gonna mind the weight all too much, right? So there's that. Moving on to the aesthetics. Yeah, I don't know, guys, not a huge fan of the 8. You know what I mean? The 7 I definitely feel like looks better in my personal opinion, right? I don't really think anyone's gonna pick the 8 over the 7 in my personal opinion. The AE1 though, the AE1 definitely looks the best. And you know what looks better than the AE1 in my personal opinion? The Harden Volume 1, right? So, or maybe the AE, I don't know. Which one do you guys think looks better? AE1, Harden Volume 1. Tell us down in the comment section below. But wrapping things up, yes, so the Harden Volume 8 is literally feeling like the Harden Volume 7, which is not a bad thing, and that's also kind of like what I predicted, you know what I mean? And obviously if the traction holds up and it's top tier, it's going to be an amazing performer like the Harden Volume 7. The only thing I am kind of disappointed in is the quality, right? Like I said, I don't really like the crease marks, I don't really like the foam that much here. Also the shroud material, I mean this toe box material does not feel great as well for the quality, but other than that, it feels really similar to the Harden Volume 7. So anyways, that about concludes this comparison video. Obviously take it with a grain of salt because I haven't played in the Harden Volume 8 yet, but those are just some of the differences that I noticed. I was just trying these shoes on in my studio and walking around in it, just walking my dogs and stuff like that. But anyways, again, if you guys do want to cop any of these shoes, I'll try to leave the link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.